Okay, well, I'd like to welcome you all to the Port Orchard Council Finance Committee meeting of May 17th and call it to order. And we'll start with our regular agenda items and going over the sales tax and fund balances. So Noah?
Great. Thank you, Chairman. So when we start by looking at sales tax for the month of April, when we look at our year-over-year collections, it was up 20% in April. So we had a great sales tax collection month. Overall in the year, we're up roughly 8.5% year-over-year growth. And of course, when we compare it to the budget, we're 37% above our budgeted values. So big difference from last month. Last month, we were just right on pace at 5%, but this April sales tax dollars really bumped us up quite a bit and really looking good, propelling us forward. At this point, even just closing April, we have completed about 75% of our biennial budget. So that's great, about 2 months ahead of our sales tax collections.
Yeah, that is good.
REIT, on the other hand, is a little bit different this month. And if you see the year-over-year pattern here, it's kind of interesting to see that this month we were actually down nearly 30% when we compare 22 April to 21 April. Overall on the year, we're down roughly 10% on year-over-year growth. But again, we're still above our budget and we've already completed our biennial budget. So any additional revenue at this point is over and above what we had budgeted and planned to spend. So just overall, the city's in good shape from that perspective, but it was a down month. And so we'll see if it rebounds again next month.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of projects in the works, as we've seen from a report that Nick gave us a while ago. That, the mayor sent to us. There's a tremendous amount in the pipeline. So, okay, let's unless there's questions, why don't we go on to the fund balances? You can run through that real quick.
Yeah. Another great month. Again, our fund balances are very healthy due to the strong revenue, excuse me there, due to the strong revenue collections and overall departments maintaining their expenses within their budget. So all real healthy balances, which means that as we go into this next month in May and June, I'm going to make some transfers to close out some of these policy goals. And what I mean by that is I'm going to close out our enterprise stabilization transfers. So far, we've been making transfers per month to each one of these stabilization accounts. So I only have about 6 months of transfers left. I'm going to make the full remaining 6 months of transfers in this next month for 2 reasons. One, we would have very healthy operating balances, so there's really no concern there. And 2, as we move into budget season, it will help us to better forecast where our fund balances will be if we've completed some of these kind of already committed policy goals. So I just want to share that with the committee, see if they had any concerns with me doing that. Otherwise, next month, you'll see large transfers coming from the water operating to our stabilization, storm operating to storm stabilization, and sewer operating to sewer stabilization.
Now, would you remind us in Fund 304 what happened this month? Is that grant funding coming in?
Correct.
Yeah.
That was
ARPA money.
Okay. It wasn't ARPA money. It was it was the
American
purchase.
Rescue.
It was that Bay Street purchase that we received the reimbursement from the state. That finally came through this month. Remember last month, it was the exact opposite. And I said, hey, just watch this, it's gonna flip.
Yep.
So there it flipped. So back up to a nice healthy balance there.
Yep.
Yeah, ARPA will come in July. That's right. The next bite of 1.4, I think, in ARPA money.
Yep. And yeah, so that will be another big hit to our general fund balance when that money comes in for ARPA.
Okay. Any questions of Noah?
Did I miss us talking about sales tax?
Yes, did.
Okay. I saw it, but wow.
Yeah. Tempered with REIT, but yes.
Yeah. Well, you know, REIT, if we ignore year over year, I mean, last year was just out of the park on REIT. We're still, you know, our budget, we were still well north of budget. We just weren't year over year growth.
It's just a month after month is all, so.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Okay, IT projects.
Yeah, so I invited Steve Havert here, who is our network administrator. Steve, I'm gonna pull open the revised IT server proposal, and I'm just gonna ask you to go through this and share with the finance committee your thoughts. You have to unmute yourself though first, Steve.
I always forget that.
Remember
Okay.
Zoom and Teams?
I know. So yeah, so we are getting up. We've got 3 existing Dell boxes, if you will. 2 of them are servers, one of them's storage device, if you will. And so they're 6 years old. Expected lifespan is generally at 7 years for server equipment. One of the problems we've run into is we've maxed out on our disk storage. So we basically filled up our file server. I've mitigated that as much as I could by moving some of that data around. So, you know, we don't have any kind of performance issues. So that's one of the things that sort of motivating me to try to get some replacements in a little bit early. And then, so there is our virtualization software, which is called VMware, which allows us to run a bunch of servers, virtual servers on only 2 physical, server boxes. We're kind of out of date with that, but I can't upgrade it to the current version because it's not compatible with our storage device. So there's another motivating factor. And there's just new technologies that are available that would better leverage our hardware investment, it's make things easier to operate more efficiently. So that's kind of the whole point of this, is to replace our existing server environment with a new one. And Nutanix is the name of a company that produces this, offers this, kind of a combination of hardware and virtual environment, if you will. And quite a few other cities and counties in Washington State are using it: Seattle, Tacoma, Spokane, Redmond, Pierce County. And I've talked to folks from a couple of those different places. And we had our ACES conference last month and in Spokane. And so just kind of felt people out about it. And by and large, everybody was very—
And Steve,
yeah.
just to catch the committee up, the ACES conference is the largest IT conference for cities and municipalities across the state. Is that how you describe it?
Yeah, that's just right. It's just it's all, not all of them, but the cities and counties IT departments get together twice a year at this conference. And so, we have various presentations, but we all network and talk about different stuff. And so it's a great opportunity to do just what I was doing, which was, hey, you guys use this? How do you like it? And so, yeah, but basically all the responses were very positive. They like it and they're very happy with it. So I felt it would be a good solution for us. And
Steve, this Nutanix, do they build the servers, or do they use a Dell or something like that?
No, well, they do build them. They actually they don't build the servers. They use a product called Supermicro, which has been around for a while. It's just another server company, hardware company. So they do that, and then they incorporate some of their own technology into that. But yeah, so they don't actually produce any hardware, but they customize it. Let's put it that way.
So we wouldn't be buying a Dell, we'll buy somebody else's.
Right.
box.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But Nutanix would be our support, hardware and software support, contact. So they manage all that. And so if we need hardware repair or something like that, we contact them and they just send it out. Their policy is we'd be on a 12 or a weekday business hour kind of server support agreement, which I think is fine for us. I don't think we need 24/7. But so, yeah, they basically say, if they'll detect, they monitor the whole system. So they may detect that there's a hardware problem before I even am aware of it. And they'll just overnight a part and send out a tech to replace it. So, generally servers are pretty stable. I mean, we've had these Dells for 6 years and never had a problem with them. So
do they do the software so that we wouldn't need the VMware?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So then, yeah, so basically it would be 3 boxes, if you will, and that'll be full redundancy. So if one box fails, the other 2 will take over, and we won't experience any loss of performance or any issues. So that it makes it nice. And then,
Steve, does this other document you provided, does this help?
well, so just as I put this in here just as sort of an idea, giving you an idea. So basically there's these 2 servers, the columns are the servers PO VMware 1 and PO VMware 2. So that's the hardware. And then you can see these are individual logical servers. And so you can see it's kind of divvied up. There's several on one box and several on the other box. And then at the bottom is the power vault, which is the storage. That's where all the data gets stored. And that's the one that it's kind of full right now. So, but yes, from graphical, I think it kind of helps to sort of conceptualize what this looks like. And then there's some others. So I do have the police have their separate server because for CJIS purposes, the security is required. So I've got it in a little cabinet in the server room that's got its own key. So that's the other people can go in the server rather than have the server room secured. I just had that cabinet secure, which allows other people to go in and out of the server room without having to have a special key and having CJIS training. And then the PO NAS 3 is our backup, where we store all the backup data. So it gets stored every night. And in some cases, certain servers get backed up every night, other servers on a weekly basis. And the data goes to here, and then from here it goes up to the cloud. But that PO NAS 3 is the device I use to kind of mitigate the fact that I borrowed some of the backup storage area for live data, just to kind of get us through that. And then, the other things are really not relevant. We got rid of the Barracuda and moved to a cloud version. That's how we keep track of all of our emails. So every email that gets sent or received goes into an archive. So for public records purposes, so Brandy can, find it if she needs it. So I think we can go back now to the other one, unless anybody's got any questions. Just to note that all the new environment offers a significant increase in the amount of compute power that we've got. And so obviously something that's always going to be needed, more compute resources. And so the next thing is just the kind of the big breakdown of the cost. So itemize sort of the different pieces of hardware. The total hardware is right around little under 50,000 there. So there's 2 support options, software license and support options. One's a 5-year, and the other's a 3-year. So you can see there's a difference in price there.
Hey, Steve, before we get too far down that, Jay, you have a question?
Yes, I do. Thanks. Steve, quick question.
Sure.
Does this take into account what we'll need for maintaining the body camera footage?
So
or is that separate?
Well, so in talking to Matt, our police chief, my understanding is that's all going to be in the cloud. That is what he's told me. So until I get more details or something that conflicts with that, that's the assumption that I'm going on.
Okay, so so we're fine with that, the amount of data that we'll be accumulating on that. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I did, we are using Laserfish now, and that's rapidly chewing up disk space, which is good because then eventually we'd be able to delete other files from the file server that will be redundant. So I'm out allocating or anticipating quite a bit of growth there. And then the Public Works Department bought a what do you call it, a CCTV truck, right, for doing the sewers. And so they have not, I've asked them several times about, how much video are we planning on storing? Right now, they're just storing it on the computer that's in the truck. So they haven't, I guess, finalized their, their requirements yet. So I don't know how much, but I'm anticipating that, video takes up a pretty good chunk. So I'm anticipating that, there's going to be a sizable requirement there once they decide, how much of it they're going to actually keep.
That'd be a good item for the cloud.
Yes, but yeah, I just don't know kind of what they're, how often they're going to want to recover it. I mean, it's hard to imagine anybody sitting there watching too much, video of a camera in a sewer, but I don't know.
I don't think we'd have to have too much high security around it, so.
No. So there's definitely a growing need in the city as we continue to embrace new technologies, new services, get better at what we're doing. Body cameras, CTC cameras, archiving software. So
Yep.
the body has been growing significantly. So let's come back to what would the cost be here, Steve? So you said roughly 50,000 for all the hardware.
Yeah, so about a little under, well, so like I said, 2 options on the software and support, either a 5-year or a 3-year term. I looked at, basically excluding the Veeam backup software, that third item, it's about $11,458 a year for option 5, the option 1, which is a 5-year, and option 2, the 3 years, about $12,965 per year. So a little bit of savings going in if you do the 5-year instead of the 3-year. I guess that's about $1,500 a year savings. So it's not huge. And then basically, go ahead.
I mean, really on that, I don't think we're these servers, you're telling me last 6 or 7 years.
Right.
And so we know we're gonna need this equipment and licensing and support for it for 5 years or more. And I'll bet 3 years from now, the cost won't go down.
I bet you're right. Yeah.
So I would definitely advocate for a 5-year option,
Okay.
because we fixed our cost for
Right.
5 years. And we
Yeah,
know
I
what
would
it is.
do, Rob. I think that probably makes the most sense personally to go with the 5-year support.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So with the actual implementation and training services at 11,860, then so the total option for option 1, the 5-year, is 129.85.
Yeah, I would advocate for that one as well. So I don't know, Sean and Jay, do you have any opinion? I see Sean shaking his head yes, so.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
I'd go for the longer term for sure.
Okay.
So Steve, one question on that. We don't have to pay up front for that 5-year in the licensing and service. So we're gonna pay for the hardware and then the first 1/5 of that 59,000, correct? You're muted again.
I would think you'd
Oh,
pay it
maybe-
up front, but
Oh, I think my chair is hitting my keyboard. So no, I believe that would be up front.
Okay,
Yeah,
so but we can afford it right now.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
I don't, anybody else have questions?
No, the only question I have is what time is somebody in tomorrow? I obviously have a problem with my city computer, so is somebody there at 8 o'clock?
Yeah, I'll be there at 8.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, sounds like the committee is supportive of us kind of taking this forward, working with the vendor. If we can pull it off, I'd like to try to bring it next week to council meeting for approval of the contract. And then I'd probably follow up with the budget amendment when I'm planning one in June, a lot of cleanup budget amendments. So I'd include this in that amendment once we got all the details laid out.
Good to me. Didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like the plan. All right, next, moving on, we have the mayor.
Okay, on this lateral hiring, I'll start with this lateral hiring incentive, and then I'll have Debbie fill in the blanks for me. So as you guys know, I believe it was 15,000 is what you guys approved for a hiring incentive. And was it 5, Debbie, and then 10 after they finished probation?
That is correct.
We have not been able to get the contract finished, nor an ILA done with our guild over this. For various reasons, they seem to believe that they want this money not to go to new hires. Okay, and our challenge is once they're members of the guild, I have to have an agreement with the guild. So the first 5,000, when we hire somebody, they aren't a member of the guild. So I'd like to bring this back at next week's council meeting and amend what you guys brought forward, and that we're going to offer the first 5,000 administratively. And the problem with that, the intent of what you guys passed was if somebody didn't make it through, their training period, we would try to claw that 5,000 back, and that would be done through that vehicle of the ILA. We're likely not going, because now they're union members or guild members once we've hired them and they've gone into training, and we'll lose the ability to claw that back. Remember, these are lateral transfers. They're very experienced officers. I don't see somebody not making it through the training hiring. So I think there's very little risk. I want to be able to offer this incentive, and this is one of the ways I can see it. At least I can give a portion of it, and possibly put some pressure on the union, the guild, to finish this agreement, because now one of their members, they're the ones holding up one of their members getting the next installment of the 10,000, not the city, because the city's offering it. We just need an agreement with the guild. So
you're only going to be able to offer a new employee the 5,000. You can't commit to the 10 until you get the guild buy-off.
Correct, but it's available, and now this person's a member of the guild.
Well, I appreciate your strategy there. I think it's a good one, but it's just like, will you think you would be able to attract the lateral transfer with the guarantee of 5?
That's a tool. I've got a tool, at least, or more of a tool than I had.
Compared to what others are offering, and I appreciate the guild is a problem, but I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing. And if it's that low risk, why would we limit it to 5? Why wouldn't we at least discuss having it be more?
I concur with that. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, between Debbie and the chief, who's not here, that we're vetting the stuff out of these people. Yep. And so I almost said something else. And so I'd be fine either doing the 10 or the 15. We need to have people. We need to get, we're barely keeping our heads above water right now.
Well, I kind of like Rob's strategy with the guild. I think we should do 10 up front and have that 5 out there as for them to work on the guild.
Whatever you guys want. I want to bring it back, and I wanted to vet it with you guys first before I put it on the agenda next week.
So what are you thinking, John? 10-5?
Yeah. Sean, what do you think? You're on mute.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. I like that leverage point, but and again, I'm not in those negotiations, but it just seems so self-serving to me that we're trying to benefit our citizens. That's what we're here for. At least I'm here to do, is to make decisions that protect public safety across. And it just seems that they're not getting the big picture, and it's a different conversation. And I know we've talked about this at length, but we've been so short-staffed for so long. And I think it's in everyone's best interest, including our current officers, that we get fully staffed. But
well, I every year believe that unions will eat their young. They don't care about the new kids. They want the senior folks. They're gonna get all the benefits.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hear you, Sean. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, no, but that's why I like this is that it's like, no, this is important enough to us that we have a way that we can still get,
Okay, so
good.
We're okay with 10-5? Okay.
We'll bring it back next week.
Okay.
And the last item on the agenda tonight is parking enforcement. And that's just, I respect, you know, the direction you guys gave us in the budget process, that when we had these openings, we toyed with the idea of having one full-time person and have a benefited position. What the approval we have is for 2 part-time positions. And we've had one on board here for 2 or 3 months. She's doing a bang up job. We've just finished a recruitment for the second one. And the wheels have come off the cart because the person that we have on board is a student working on a master's program. Over the next quarter and maybe 2 quarters, her schedule and her childcare needs are going to prevent her from being able to work for us. And she was going to resign, and Debbie talked her into taking a leave of absence. And even if she, doesn't come back till next year, till January 1st, she likely will only be with us for another year, and then she graduates and she'll be working in her new career. Our challenge to the second person that we hired is, when parking enforcement resides in the police department, to work in the police department, you have to have a polygraph and extensive background checks. It's a couple month process, and it's really expensive, and it adds on. And these positions are a bit of a revolving door because of their part-time nature. And we just made a job offer. This person accepted. They're in the military reserves, and in the midst of our process, she got activated in the reserves, and now she's going to be gone till October. So I don't want to go back to not having any parking enforcement. When our current person Tuba started coming out of COVID, the behavior out there wasn't what it should have been in our community. She was writing 50 parking tickets a day. And now it's back down to normal ranges of about a dozen a day, parking infractions she's writing. So my solution is, I think we need to get parking enforcement out of the police department. In other cities, it can be in public works, or it can be in DCD. And then Debbie and I and Mark and Nick have been debating this for a couple of days. And I think it's best served to be part of code enforcement. My challenge, wherever I put it, is nobody has any bandwidth. And our org charts are really flat. And I'm going to be talking to you in the budget process about some organizational changes in management that I think we need to do. But I think this one, what I would like to do is promote our new building official. Has been an excellent hire. She's got the temperament and the skills, I think, to be Nick's second in command. And then we would put code enforcement under her management and take some direct reports away from Nick, and then also put parking enforcement underneath Nick. And this would allow me a scenario where I hire for this summer, where I have a glaring need. I'd like to hire a college student for the summer. And then my situation gets better in the fall when this other person, and then I don't have to do these over the top background checks and polygraphs for somebody that's a part-time employee and isn't going to be with us for probably a long time. So that's my pitch. And I've got some legwork to do on salary ranges and for someone's promotion, and have some conversations with those employees that would be impacted too. So your thoughts?
Makes sense to me. And I also like the fact that this really is code enforcement, right? Parking. And so it kind of takes away that moniker of policing and turning it over to more code enforcement.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, Rob. That's why we hired you, is to be the administrator. So
okay. It does involve also, I got to engage Charlie to change our code. Our code explicitly calls it out as a police function, but so it'll be an ordinance where we change it to a code enforcement function.
Yeah.
Nick, go ahead. You're muted, sir.
Sorry, I don't think you mentioned it, but I wanted to point out also that since we've hired Angela, she also became a certified fire marshal and is now handling that fire piece and has the credential that she didn't have when she arrived. And so I think the combination of her picking up those new skills along with additional supervisory responsibility is, it justifies what the mayor's talking about.
And if I know you and I talked this afternoon. Have you had a chance to chat with her yet, or? And
Yeah, she's totally open to it, and she seemed excited. So she said she wants to spend the rest of her career in Port Orchard. She loves it here.
All right. Well, everybody here signed a lifetime contract, so. Steve keeps trying to retire. We can't keep telling him, no, we can't.
Check the fine print, Steve. Okay.
What is it? What was that, John? I didn't hear you.
Did you
Check the
check the fine print on your contract?
No, I forwarded it to my attorney to look at.
Good plan.
Okay.
Well, that's it, Mr. Chair. If you got anything for the good of the order.
I've got one.
Yes.
Sorry
Okay.
to be. I appreciate the mayor forwarding Nick's email to us.
Mhm.
I went, oh my God. And I'm just, we had talked before about making sure people and, resources that we need. And so I'm saying, are we going to be bringing something to the committee shortly for that? Or are we going to go down the route? And the one reason I bring that up is either through, folks to be out checking the work or even getting the work started, because that was another eye opener as usual.
Yeah, and since that time, Nick has shared with me 2 other significant projects that have scheduled pre-apps. So one is out there at Bravo Terrace at Queensland property, another 250 unit subdivision there, and potentially a mixed use project down on Bay Street as you're heading toward Annapolis before you turn the corner. A multi-story building there. So it is crazy. And yeah, I just wanted to, more than anything, I talk about it all the time. I just wanted you guys to see it in writing and what the and I'm not comfortable with the service levels that we're providing right now. 9 weeks to have a pre-app meeting and it's taking a week to 10 days to get a call back is not where we want to be. But I was really hoping to wait. I think I got 5 positions I have in mind in the next budget process, and one of them is related to building inspection and plan review.
I'm just wondering, can we wait that long?
You're the finance committee. If you want us to,
Well, I would just remind folks that that's Rob's job to tell him what he needs, not for us to tell him what he needs. So
That's not,
I appreciate, the support, but I would hate to have us start telling Rob what he needs in his operation.
no, I'm not challenging that at all.
Yeah.
John.
I know.
What-
I didn't
Michael?
want Rob to think that, well, the finance committee's going to tell him.
No.
Yeah.
No,
We're
but
supportive of what you're thinking, but you need to tell us what you need.
right, but if we're looking at service levels, which we all hear about, where we're out there, then we should at least bring that to an attention, and I'll leave that there right now.
I'll tell you what, I appreciate the question, Jay, and John, I absolutely appreciate your statement. And let's get this parking enforcement and promoting Angela, because that person's going to be underneath Angela. And then maybe we do that before the end of the year. If this, I keep thinking that things will slow down a little bit. Interest rates are rising but it doesn't. So, but maybe in the next couple months we revisit that. We'll talk about that internally. And I know that's one of the glaring needs. a couple of police officers is also out there, you know, and a mid-level manager in public works and another code enforcement person, to be honest, because we're not getting our job done in that realm either. So.
Jay, you could use my normal approach when they complain to me about it. I talk to the mayor. It's not my job.
Trust me, they're
The only
talking.
thing I take credit for it is if it's a compliment. Otherwise, it's the mayor's problem, not ours.
Well, you know, I will share something as I'm doing some part-time work with a person that's doing remodel, and it's not in this county and not in this city. And there's a lack of respect for, it's not that the inspectors aren't doing their job. They just don't have the time to do their job.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know we're building it right, but when they come by and go, looks good, that's not a good way to be. And I just want to make sure we have the tools.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, point well taken, Jay.
It is, and these are conversations we're having internally. So.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order?
Real quickly, Steve, I think I solved my problem. Thank you. Won't see you tomorrow.
The power button.
Now he remembered his password.
No, when I came back from the trip, I had put it on airplane mode, and I had taken it off, but I hadn't reconnected with my internet, so I'm back up and running.
All right. Well, good. Then we'll see you on the real computer in a little while. So,
Yes.
all right.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. I guess
See ya.
we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.